Malcolm Roberts.
Good, Ben.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, good to see you once again. You're everywhere, mate. All the forums, all the rallies.
Well, you got to learn, mate, that we do a lot of listening, Pauline and I. We love to listen because it's the key to understanding what we then have to talk about and what we have to act on.
Mate, that's so good. I'm like always happy when I see you. I think at the
You just want someone shorter than you, that's all.
I remember the free Tommy Robinson rally.
Oh, yeah.
I got a good bit of footage. I'm walking. I'm like, hey, there's Malcolm Roberts. I'm like, he's always at every rally. So I gave you a little
That was
rap, but
vital.
I didn't say g'day.
Freedom of speech, that's the core there.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter what you think about Tommy. Freedom of speech is vital.
Yeah,
It's
freedom
being
of
destroyed
speech.
here, mate, as you know.
Oh, absolutely. And it's the little guys like
Yep.
getting out there and having a crack. And, you know, that's what I think of myself. It's like the mainstream media doesn't want to cover any of these things. And so it's got to be your average Joe has a crack and be like, well, you know what? I'll cover it. If they won't cover it, I'll cover it because there's conservatives don't have a voice, you know.
In Britain, the judges shut down the mainstream media from even talking about it. We need to start calling them legacy media, mate.
Legacy media.
Legacy.
Eh?
Just the legacy is just what's left.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
dying.
yeah.
They're dying because people are working out that the legacy media is not telling the truth, and the truth matters.
Yeah, well, more and more people are tuning into Facebook and YouTube and they're listening to the average Joe having a crack, but it's probably more truthful and honest, you know what I mean? And I think people see that because it's not like I'm learning on my feet. Like tonight we learned about immigration and corruption in politics and, you know, it's just like, I mean, I can see it. I
Scary.
can see the problems. We can all see it when I'm driving home, and I'm like, oh mate, sick of the traffic and house prices through the roof, and you know, we can all feel it.
You know, they're on the right target in terms of talking about 70K immigration, getting back to the old target, and net immigration of zero, which is good. But they refuse to talk about the quality of immigration. Now, in the Senate, I raised that about the quality. I said, let's talk about the number and the mix, or in other words, the quantity of people coming in and the quality. And by quality, I quickly defined that as the ability and the willingness to assimilate and integrate. Because we want one nation. That's what Australians want. One nation, one set of laws, one constitution, one set of values, and one culture. And not even the Greens challenged me about the quality. So, and now we've even got the Greens. We know that 34% of the Greens voters in 2016 said that they wanted to ban Islamic immigration. We're the only ones who said that.
Yeah.
We're the only ones who took that position. We're the only ones who stick by that position. But they're the biggest threat to our country. Numbers, as you just pointed out correctly, and as these fellows pointed out, that's doing us damage, high excessive immigration. But more damaging is the mix, because we can't allow Islamic immigration to continue into this country. They're just not compatible. They're anti-female, they're anti-homosexual, they're anti-family, they're anti-Australia. So, you know, female genital mutilation is practiced by many of them. They suppress women and they abuse women. They think it's okay to suppress women and to perpetrate violence against women. They condone terrorism. Senior people, with one exception in this country, senior Muslim leaders won't speak out against terrorism. There are other things that they do. They're just not compatible with our values. And when they come out here, they increase terrorism, increase crime, and we see these. And people, look, when you see a woman walking, Pauline Hanson walked into the Senate wearing that burqa. I'm sitting opposite at that time the damn ALP and the Greens. And mate, you could have heard a pin drop, but more important, you could feel their fear. That was like, you know, it was like all of them just gasped and said, what's going on? They were terrified. Then they stand up and say what didn't bother them. Rubbish. When you see a person, female, completely clad and prevented from being seen, that's just not Australian. And it conveys a very strongly negative message about Islam, about our country when we allow that kind of thing.
Oh, it's a alien culture to what
Good way
we're
of saying
used
it.
to, you know.
You
It's
said it in
out of
3 words.
control. I remember back in 2006, my first year out of school. Oh, maybe, yeah, it was the end of 2006. Finished school, working, went to the bank. Boom, I walked in and lady wore a full burqa, and I turned around. I was like, whoa, that was a foreign experience. You know what I mean? It was quite confronting. I think she even had like full-on gloves, and I thought, what the heck's going on? But it's a strange thing because you don't just like, oh, how you going? Like, it does put that barrier up. You know, makes you not be able to have that eye contact, see the, you know, it's completely foreign to me.
Yeah, even a veil covering the face, you know, even if it's not the full burqa, just a veil covering the face, just suppresses them. That's just not right. It's an anti-female, anti-human ideology. It's not a religion. It's an ideology, a way of structuring society. Just like communism, Nazism, they're ideologies.
Yeah.
Islam, just like those two, relies upon violence to control fear, violence and fear to control belief, thought, and behaviour. And it's punitive. And we're not that way, mate.
No,
As you said, I'll take your word. It's an alien culture.
Yeah. You can't, it's not a voluntary culture. It seems that once they're in. Like, can that lady take that burqa off? How will she be treated in her own community? You know what I mean?
Well, what religion? Can you name another religion, any other religion that preaches violence, that preaches if you don't convert, you're in trouble. We'll kill you. That's our agenda, the jihad agenda, to kill people who don't convert. It's our agenda to kill people who leave our religion. Name one other religion.
Oh, mate.
And then do you think... Yeah.
Ragnar Lothbrok, mate, from Vikings.
And then think about this. How many problems do we have with Buddhists? Who are about the same number in Australia, about 2.5%. None. How many problems do we have with Sikhs, with Hindus?
Yeah.
None. Just Islam.
And that's the thing, my workplace, like we were joking the other day, and I said, hey, if it was Ragnar standing there, the Viking, saying if he kills someone, he's going to Valhalla, we'd get rid of the guy. We'd all be thinking, hey, we need to get rid of this fella. We're all in danger. This guy's got a crazy belief system, but you know, because it's Islam, they have the same belief system. It's out of control. And if it was a Viking standing there, we'd be saying, we need to do something about this problem.
Well, mate, an ideology that seeks to control using violence and is very punitive, Nazism, communism, Islam. We won't handle that. All the major terrorists, let's call them what they were, Stalin, Hitler, Mao Zedong, a lot of the Pol Pot in Cambodia, all of them were left-wing terrorists from the control side of politics, and they were all socialists. People put up Hitler as being a fascist, a right-wing fascist. Rubbish. Nationalist Socialist Party is what Nazi stands for. He was a socialist. They're all left-wing socialists. And that's what we've had. And Islam uses the same damn methods for controlling people. Punitive, physical violence, fear to control belief and thought.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's a funny thing, like, at my work, I'll tell you this, hey, I've got a Hindu guy, right? He tells me, he's like, oh, he's concerned of Islam. He knows what it's like back home. We have a Filipino guy. He has the same problem.
India has more Muslims than any other country except for Indonesia, I think.
Yeah.
It's a huge proportion in India.
You got to get this. All right. We have another guy from Ethiopia. Same problem. A problem with Muslims. All right. Like I'm standing there and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I've got testimony from around the world. Wherever Muslims are, there's a problem. Whether you're a Hindu, you're a Catholic Filipino or an Orthodox bloody Ethiopian.
The 5 most significant Middle Eastern countries, Islamic countries, won't take Islamic immigrants Islamic refugees, because of they're afraid of terrorism. The 5 leading Islamic countries in the Middle East won't accept Islamic refugees because they're afraid of terrorism. And what happens? These people come here because they like our lifestyle, our culture, our laws, our values. What do they do when they get here? Change all of that, or try to. It's just insane. We have got to keep these people out because very important to quality of life is the quality of the people and their ideology.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've seen it as well. I've got mates from church from Nigeria. The same problem. When I was in Europe, we went to Europe for my wife's birthday years ago, right? And we were in Amsterdam, and there was a big protest. I was like, what's going on here? And it was all these Chinese Muslims. It was some western province of China.
Chinese have problems with
And China's got problem with them, and Russia's got problem with them, and Israel's got problem with them.
You know what the
And
Japanese do?
You don't let them in.
Exactly. The
It's
Japanese don't let them
easiest.
in. They don't have a problem with it.
Yeah. We need to sort it out, and they need to reform. Like we spoke to Imam Twahidi.
He was
here
good,
the
wasn't
other
he?
week. He was great.
He was the one exception that I mentioned a little while
Yeah,
ago. I
the
said
one
there's one
exception.
exception
Yeah.
because he denounces terrorism, he denounces jihad, he denounces radicalisation. That's what he's really strong on. And he said he came here because of the opportunities and the culture here. That's what he wants to keep.
Yeah. I'm telling you, no joke, true story. When I was in year 12, 2005, I used to go to, so I used to live in Holland Park, play basketball with these young Sudanese mates. They were all Muslim. Great guys. They were good, fine guys. One day they said, guys coming down from the mosque to talk to you guys. This is true, eh? The guy comes down. I'm telling you what, would have been 2 to 5 minutes in the conversation. He's saying there will be war on the streets in this nation. Muslim man coming down to share his faith. It went like this. And you could see the anger in his eyes. And I really had no idea. As a young guy, I was, too busy chasing girls, or playing sports and going to the gym and whatever, you know what I mean? And yeah, I knew the terrorist attacks, and these were my Muslim mates. But that experience, it was that year, that was 2005. It was that year Cronulla riots started. You know what I mean? And I, in my mind, as the years have gone on, it's like, wow, that man, what he said, it's like it's happening. It's true. All them years ago. That's real. That's just down the road here.
Well,
in Brisbane,
they can hide things like that as well. They can. Some of the mosques are actually, what do they call it? Radicalisation centres, and they ferment problems. So there's nothing to like about it. Nothing at all about that Islamic ideology. Not a religion. It's an ideology.
Because the young African Muslim mates of mine, they were good young men, but it only takes one guy like that, eh?
Yeah.
It only takes one guy like that to radicalise them and turn good. They could be great young Aussies, them boys, and they've grown up now. But it only takes one radical, eh? It takes one Ragnar to come along and you'll get to Valhalla, eh? Like your golden ticket to Valhalla, like it's out of control.
Yep, you're right. I can't add anything to that. That was well said.
Yeah. Hey, mate, thanks again.
You're welcome, Ben.
Cheers. Thank you.